Hey guys, it's Tark with Cyclone FPV, and we are just now getting to the end of this entire series. So we've done sections 1 through 8, and that's taking you from beginning to end as far as the hardware. So if we do our picture-in-picture, you should have a quad that looks very much like this now, ready to fly. Okay, but now we've got to do the software side, and that I'm going to do in one section, which is going to be part 9, which is going to be this part here. So this might be a little bit longer, but we're going to try to go through it because there shouldn't be too much that you have to do. So let me just focus on what we're going to do here. So I'm going to share with you where we're at. And so what I want you to do, and let me close this down real quick. I'm going to go back to our main Cyclone FPV page. And I want you to go to Cyclone FPV website. I want you to go down to Education, click on York Junior High. And then from there, you're going to get to our main page. And this is the page that got you to watch the videos. Okay, this is talking about the RMA if you want to trade them in. There's our video link right there. And then here is the suites. All right, and I got to refresh this just to make sure I put, because I changed this link out. So you're going to need BL Heli, you're going to need Betaflight, and you're going to need the Silicon Labs drivers. Okay, so you're going to need all 3 of these. So first click on the BL Heli suite. And for this particular BL Heli suite, you're going to download this one right here, which is going to be suite 16 or 16714-902. Now, I'm going to download that as well. So I'm going to right click on it. Well, I guess I'll just download it right here. And it's going to take me to MediaFire, and I'm going to click, let me close this down, and I'm going to click here to download, right? I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of the way. Now I've already got this loaded on my computer, so I'm going to do, you can ignore the rest of these things, all right? But it's downloading right here, so it's already in, all right? And I had it here, so I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this. Let me close this. Now, there's also a BL Heli 32, so I'm going to unpin this one. You won't need that right now, but if you ever want to get to it just so you can understand what's going on with it, you can download the 32-bit version too. That's for a different ESC. I'm going to go ahead. I need that, so I'm going to download it right now just because I need it. All right. This is the file that you were looking for right here, right? This is the BL Heli 16714-902. So let's go to the Show in folder. Okay, and let's go to Extract it. So you're going to right-click on it. You're going to say Extract All. And it's going to extract it like, here's my folder. It's just going to extract, and you want to show the files when you're done. Okay, now you don't have to worry about the 32-bit. You don't even need to download that. That's just for me because I'm here and I need to do it now, so I might as well get it done. So I'm going to extract this really quickly, somewhat quickly. Let me close this too. Got too many things open. Takes a little bit of time, I guess. Well, that gives me time. All right, so here's our folder that has it. Now I'm going to take, this is the file that we want to run here, BL Heli Suite.exe. Now I'm just going to drag that and pin it to my taskbar so I have an easy way to get to it. All right, close everything else down. Now let's go back. You can close these links out. Let's go back to our website here. Now we need the Betaflight, so go ahead and click that. Okay, and this is 10.7, which I think I already have. I'm going to open mine real quick just to check. I think I have 10.7. I have 10.6. So I'm going to go ahead and download that as well. But to do that for me, I'm going to need to uninstall my other one. So let me just check in. I think I need to uninstall it. So let me go to my programs real quick. And there it is. So I'm going to uninstall this Betaflight right here. And I don't know what just happened. I hear something, but I don't see it. So no, that's great. So I don't know what it's telling me here. I don't see anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the web and download. Let's just go ahead and start downloading this. So here we go. Where is my, right here. So I'm going to download, let me see. I'll download the executable right here. Okay, so I'm going to click that, and that's going to download as well. You have to have Betaflight 2 to do this, or there are some other flight software programs, but we're using Betaflight right here. Okay, all right. And while that's downloading, I still don't know what was happening on mine. I should be able to uninstall it, but I have no idea. Okay, so I'm going to show it in the folder, and I'm just going to, I assume it's going to auto extract, so let me go ahead and do that. Double click on it, and it's going to go through the, oh, this is 10.6. Well, then never mind. So it's doing basically the same thing I already have loaded, I guess. All right, so I'm going to click yes, next, agree, go. All right. Wait for it to get done. And again, I'll make a shortcut. It's right here. So, I mean, this is basically loading the same version I had. I thought it was an update, but it's not. And then finally, while that's going on, you need this Silicon Labs right here. So click that. And that is the that is the file right here that has the driver in it to run this board. Okay, so again, you'll do show in folder, and then you can extract that right here, extract all. Okay, and there you go. And then from here, you will basically run whichever one of these two would match your computer. Run that, and that'll get your Silicon Labs, because you'll see when you plug in your board. And if you have any problems with that, let me know, but this is the driver that we know we've tested to work. So if you're running a 64-bit, run this one. If you're running a 32-bit, run this one. All right. All right, so now I think our beta flight should be done. So let me see where I'm at. Here it is, still going. Hey, wait just a little bit more. Usually it doesn't take this long, but I'm sure it's because I've done something to my setup. So when I tried to install the last one, but we should be okay. I'm getting impatient though. All right, I'm gonna let that load. I think that's on mine, but you'll end up with an icon like this to put on your taskbar. This is beta flight right here. Hopefully mine will still open, which it is. Okay, so all right, so we're at beta flight now, right? So we've got our stuff loaded, and so what I want you to do is I want you to basically take your micro USB cable that I told you needed, and I want you to plug it in. Here, I guess what I'll do is, well, no, I want you to just plug it in. Let me show you what we're talking about. So you're going to plug it in right here in the micro USB slot of your flight controller, okay? So you're going to take it, and you're going to plug it in, and you're going to hear your Windows PC make a sound. There it is, okay? Now, at that point, we're going to go back to beta flight, and we'll just leave these two up here like this, okay? So at that point, we're going to click connect, and you're going to see now, look, when you move the quad, you're going to see it respond on the screen. But you don't have the newest firmware update for this. So I want you to go to CLI. Okay, click CLI. And on your keyboard, I want you to type the word version. Hit enter, and you're going to see that this is Spracing F3. So make note of this right here. It's very important. Spracing F3, 3.2.5. The release is 2018. We are going to go here to the update firmware, and we're going to click that. Okay. Oh, you know what? You can't see that. Hold on a second. Let me get that out of there. So again, we're going to go to the update firmware, which is right here. Okay. And then what we want to do is right here to firmware flasher, and we want to drop down this menu and find the Spracing F3. Okay. So Spracing F3 right here. And this is our newest version. If you click this down, do not show this button, leave this off, leave everything exactly like it is. And then click this button here, load firmware online. Then it's going to say it's loaded, and now say flash firmware. Okay, and you'll see this should read that it's flashing right now. Okay, so basically we're going to update the board first. Then we're going to go ahead and get our ESCs updated by going into BL Heli, which is the other program that you downloaded. Okay, which is this link. And I wonder if is my stuff done yet? It's still doing this. Oh, it's just doing a different piece now. All right, I guess it's running along. There you go. I don't want to run it. I'm already running it. There. Let's go back to beta flight real quick. Let it keep flashing. All right, there we go. Okay, so while that's going on, remember now that we've got our BL Heli suite, right, which is this one right here. We made an icon right here. And so we're going to click that next because we need to update the ESCs on here. Now, when we do that, we have to give it battery, right? The entire quad has to be powered up in order to get the ESCs to take an update. So please make sure that you have your battery charged and ready to go, or you have some power source that's going to give it some voltage right around, let's say 11 volts or so, okay? So our flashing is done here. It's verifying right now. So let's do that. All right. Excellent. Now, it says programming successful, so let's go ahead and click connect. And there we go, all right? So we have our drone, and if we tilt it forward and backward, and here I'll just show you, I'll do a picture-in-picture like this. So there you go. If we tilt it forward and backward, and then right, pitch right and left. Okay, excellent, right? So we're good there. So what we want to do now is we're going to go to ports, and this is where that UART was. I told you in one of the videos there where I said it's UART3 RX. See that UART3? That's right here. You need to take this little switch right here and turn it on. So under serial RX, UART3, turn that on. That means that we're getting our receiving signal on UART3. Leave everything else like it is and click Save and Reboot. Okay, so that's saved. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our configuration tab, and we want to make sure that the following is selected. It needs to say one shot right here. Everything basically needs to look like this, off, 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 and then these numbers are good. Quad X is good. On here, I'm going to change this to 4 and 2, and I'm going to turn these two off. Okay, leave this at 25 degrees for right now, and just name this York drone. That's fine. Okay, don't worry about anything else. Need to drop down here and go to serial based, and then drop down here and go to S-Bus. Okay. And then let's see here, we can take air mode off, remove that. Telemetry could probably come off for the time being. All right, and we will leave anti-gravity and dynamic filtering on. Everything else will remain off, and now you can click Save and Reboot. Okay, so now let's make sure all our stuff, and it all held. Everything there is how it's supposed to be. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we are going to go and we are going to disconnect. So click disconnect. I need to move that out of the screen, so let me just put that here. But if you see in your top right corner here, it says disconnect, so click that. Okay, and now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and we need to give power to our drone. So I'm going to use my AC to DC converter. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, that little white switch that you had underneath to turn your VTX off, when we give this power, that VTX is going to kick on and it's going to start getting hot. So if I were you, I would flip that white switch to the right and turn it off for the time being, okay, once you power this up. But here it goes, we're going to power it up. Okay, that noise is the chime that tells you that your motors, everything is on right now and it's configured, meaning it's on the same protocol that it needs to be to run. So what we're going to do with it on, we're going to open BL Heli. Now you have to make sure you're out of beta flight, okay? So open your BL Heli. And don't worry about this, just click more info and then click run anyway. Okay, when your BL Heli opens, and it takes a little bit of time. When it opens, go up here to your drop-down menu. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, there it is. Open your BL Heli, go up here to your drop-down menu. No, I clicked this icon here. Sorry, I forgot my screen wasn't on there. So basically you click this right here. That's that program we just loaded. And then go up here, drop down and click, let me see. You can click this one right here, number 6 in the blue. Okay. And then when that changes, drop to your COM port. Now look at your beta flight. COM 5 is what it said. So drop down to COM 5 and click connect. Okay, now you have to have power on for this to work, okay? So you have your battery plugged in and click read setup. Okay, okay, so it's gonna switch over. This is going to this version here. So you've got your 4 ESCs, all right? And they've just been read. Now there should say 16.7, but we're gonna flash them anyway so you can learn how to do that. So click Flash BL Heli. It's gonna automatically select the version you need and click OK, and then click yes. And it's gonna start updating each ESC one by one, okay? So as you can see right now, ESC number 1 is the one selected. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to go to ESC number 2. Oh, it's going to keep going on its own. Okay, great. So it's going to run through all of them. So all you're going to do is just keep clicking yes and OK. Okay, and then ESC 3 is going to come up and you click OK. Then you click yes. Now, even if this has been done at school, I just recommend you do it again because I want to make sure we cover all the steps, okay? Okay. All right, and we got one more to go. ESC number 4. So click OK, click yes, and there we go. And there we go. So we're good. Now, all 4 have been updated, right? And what we want to do before we get out of here now is we want to make sure that this programming by TX is turned on. So please make sure that's checked, and if it is, everything looks like it does on mine, go ahead and click disconnect. Okay, you're going to hear those chimes kick in. Now go back to Betaflight, but don't connect yet. What I want you to do now is I want you to, it's very important, I want you to disconnect your power from your quad. Okay, so your battery's disconnected now. Now I want you to go back to Betaflight, and I want you to click connect. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just move this over to this side, that way you guys can see it and still see all the buttons. Okay, so just by default, when you connect, click reset to Z-axis. Let's get everything straight, make sure everything's level. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to go down to motors, because we left configuration on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually calibrate the motors. Okay, so we're going to go down to our motors tab here on the left, and we're going to flip this switch on right here. And please make sure you have no propellers on, right? During any part of this video, anything that we're doing, there's no propellers on, okay? Flip that switch to where it says I understand the risks, turn that on, then take your throttle and move it all the way to the top to where everything reads 2000. And at that point, plug your battery back in and listen. When those tones are done, take the master throttle and take it all the way down. Okay, at that point, we've just calibrated the motors. So now we're going to flip this switch off. We're going to disconnect. Okay, we're going to click BL Heli again, and we're going to click read setup. Okay, and what we want to do here is we now have a calibration. We have the highs and lows of what the motors can do. Now we need to get them all in sync. Okay, so motor 1, if you right click on one, it's going to make all the others disappear. Right click on it, you're going to see minimum is 1016, maximum is 2012. Right click on motor 2, minimum is 1016, maximum is 2008, which means that motor 2 cannot go as fast as motor 1, theoretically, based on this information, okay? Right click on motor 3, minimum is 1016, maximum is 2008, and motor 4, minimum is 1016, maximum is 2008. So honestly, the only motor that's different is motor 1, that is apparently able to go faster to 2012. So we're going to drop it down to 2008. The minimums are all the same, okay? So, and the maximums need to all be the same. So we're going to make this go to 2008, and we're going to click right setup. Okay? Once you click OK, that's fine. Now left click on the other motors, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and remove this checkbox. Okay? And then again, go and click right setup. And now it's going to write all of them. Okay? Now, let me explain to you how this works a little bit, all right? So let me see if I can help you out. So here's the deal. What we're doing here is we're telling the motors the minimum and maximum that each of them can spin, and we want the minimum and maximum to be the exact same. The min and max have to be the same, right? Because you don't want one motor spinning faster than the rest, and you don't want one motor being able to go slower than the rest. So on your minimum, if they're not equal, you have to take all of them to the highest, to the highest number. So if all of them, if two of them spin at 1020, and two of them spin at 1024. Then we know that all of them can spin to 1024, but only two can go slower. We want those two to be able to go to that 1024 and stop. We don't want them to go slower, because the other two, they can't go there, are then not going to be able to spin that slow, and this quad's not going to spin evenly, okay? Same thing with maximum. If 3 of your motors can spin to 2000 and one of them spins to 2004, that 2004 needs to come down to 2000. So the way it's set is the minimum amount is the highest volume in minimum. The maximum amount is the lowest volume in maximum. Okay, so you can only go as slow as your fastest slow motor, and you can only go as fast as your slowest fast motor. It makes sense, trust me, but just make sure you do them that way, okay? So now we've done that, let's get back to what we're working on here. So we're done with this. We've removed the programming. Now we're going to click disconnect. We hear the tones again. Okay, now we're going to go back to Betaflight and connect. Now watch, we're going to reset, calibrate. We're going to look at our ports. Everything's on, configuration. Everything is at one shot. Everything looks good here, just like we set it. Go to our power and battery. I'm not really worried about that right now. Fail safe, we'll deal with that later. But the next thing is receiver. So we are bound, right? We bound our receiver, but now let's go ahead and turn it on and see what happens, okay? So here goes. So I've turned it on, boom. Did you see those values just change? Okay, so look at what we've got. We've got our values just changed, okay? And if I move these, right? Look, see how they're changing? Awesome, okay? So we've got all these going, okay? Now what we want to do is we want to set our modes, and we're going to do I'm doing the very simple setup here. I'm not going into too much in-depth stuff on this because this is supposed to be very basic for starters. So here we go. We're going to go to modes. Click your modes tab. Now we have to arm our quad in order for the motors to spin, and we have to disarm it when we're ready to stop. Right now on this radio, the only two switches that are going to be configured. You can see this in the radios tab. Let me show you in the receivers tab here. Look, this one and this one. We have no feedback on this switch right now, so we're going to use only these two, okay? So for modes, it's going to be arm or disarm. That's it. So so arm or disarm is on or off. So we're going to use the two-way switch on the right side of your remote, okay, which is right here, okay? So on this one right here, click Add Range on your screen, and then flip your switch. That's auxiliary 2. Move this here to the right, and that's when you arm. Okay, so that means that when it's under there, and that tab is under there, it's armed, okay? Now let's go to horizon, and what we're gonna do is for safety right now, we're gonna leave horizon mode on with angle mode, okay? And so what we're gonna say is at all times, until you're ready to fly with goggles, and you can get with me and I'll show you how to configure it otherwise, what we're gonna say here is we are going to make it all time horizon, and we are going to make it all time well, no, we won't make it all time angle. As a matter of fact, I'll just let me see. I'll make it all time angle for now. And that basically just stops you from doing flips and rolls, because right now you're supposed to be learning to fly, but when you want to start doing flips and rolls, you can take angle off, or we can assign the switches a little differently. So we're just going to tell this thing here. Okay? Boom, there it is, right? So no matter where you're at, your all-time angle, okay? Now, we want to set your failsafe with the next switch, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add the range, and I'm going to go to the switch on the left, okay? Basically, what I'm going to tell it is, when this switch is all the way up towards you, that's failsafe. That means it's time to cut the quad or do whatever it is in your failsafe that needs to be done. And we're going to add a range for your beeper to be the middle, okay? So we're going to say that if you flip the switch in the middle, your beeper starts sounding. If you flip it to the end, your beeper starts sounding and your failsafe kicks in. And your failsafe is basically when things get crazy, you want to flip that failsafe switch for it to follow your command, okay? Your command in this case could be cut the motors and just drop. I'll show you what that does, okay? So we're going to click save, okay? Turn it off. Now watch. See, middle is beeper. All the way would cut your motors, okay? Now, that's pretty much going to do it for here. And so now what we want to do is let's go to our failsafe tab. Okay, let me make sure that all that shows up. Okay, so you won't see that if you don't have expert mode switched on right here, you won't see failsafe. So go ahead and just switch that on. That way you can see your failsafe. Okay, so failsafe 1. This is what happens if your radio and your quad are no longer talking, if it loses signal. Okay, so right here it says if it loses signal, kick into failsafe, auxiliary run, and we want to basically hold this where it's at, okay? Now, I'm going to tell it a little bit different. These can stay like they are, all right? But what we want to do is it's on our throttle. If we lose our signal, right, then it's going to say, well, what do you want to do? Well, you can tell it to hold. Well, you don't want it to hold because if you're going forward and it holds, it's just going to keep going forward. So the way this is set right now is to drop, okay? And for the sake of you guys being new to this, I'm going to tell you to just leave it like that. But here's the other one. This is the switch that you flip on this radio right here. Now, if you do that, you can tell it to do certain things like land. And if you drop, it just cuts the motors out. If you tell it to land, it will lower the speed. Okay, so if I flip that, for example, and I say it throttle value used when landing, and I tell it I want it to land at, let's say it's going to land at 1250, just to say, okay, and this is going to be like 1/10 of a second, basically. So you're talking about 1 second here before it cuts the motors off. So I'm going to switch this to, let's just say 100, and I'm going to click save and reboot. Okay, now watch what happens. All right, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go to my motors tab, and I'm going to tell it can activate the motors, and I'm going to arm my quad. Okay, my quad is armed right there. Now, here's what happens next. I'm going to flip my failsafe. Okay, now motors are done, everything's done, and you'll hear it beeping, right? That's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back and connect. Okay, let's go to our failsafe again. Okay. And let's see, we did it to land, but I guess it didn't even have me taken off yet. So we're going to try something else here real quick. Hang tight 1 second. Let's go ahead and arm this again. Okay, and I'm going to just set it up. Okay, now I've got one motor going and it's going to try to land. Now they're both going, but we don't have any signal here. So I'm going to turn that off and disarm it, okay? So in this case, what I'll tell you is the best option here, I use this sometimes, but mainly I just go to drop, all right? And you can set these and play with it. You have to be flying. It has to notice that there's something that's happened though, and I can't do it off my bench. But for the sake of you guys right now, so you don't lose your quad or you don't have any injuries, just leave it on drop, okay? And here's what's gonna happen. So in our motors, we're gonna activate this again. Let's make sure everything's down. We're gonna activate this here. All right, we're gonna arm it, okay? And I'm moving my sticks, I'm doing whatever, okay? And then, sorry, I've got my amp usage because I'm using this piece here. Let me disconnect this smoke stopper. There we go. Smoke stopper has a very small amp range, and so once you run on motors, it goes kind of nuts. Okay, so we're flying, right? We're flying, everything's going. Okay, and watch what happens. I hit my failsafe. Motor stop, okay? And you hear the buzzer, okay? Now, that's fine. So everything there looks good. You've got your failsafe set up. Now we need to check the direction of the motors, okay? So here's what we're gonna do next. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure our radio's off, make sure everything's off, and what we wanna do now is we wanna go and, with this on, we wanna make sure motor 1 spins and it turns the right direction. So run it. Okay, this is motor 1, so that's correct. And it is spinning clockwise, okay? And you can tell because if you just put your finger on there, it's gonna make it spin all around, so you know it's clockwise, okay? Motor 2 is also spinning clockwise. And what's gonna cause that is, you'll notice you can't spin clockwise on this one. This needs to spin counterclockwise, so that's the wrong direction. Motor 3 also spins clockwise. That's wrong. So these two are going the wrong direction. They need to spin counterclockwise. Motor 4 is spinning clockwise, and that's right. So remember, motor 1 and 4 spin clockwise, motor 2 and 3 spin counterclockwise. So here's what we do to fix it. So you're gonna turn this off and disconnect. You're gonna go to your BL Heli, and you're gonna click connect. You're gonna click read setup, okay? Now, you remember, motor 2 is spinning wrong, so we're gonna reverse it. So go up here, right click on motor 2, so it's the only one showing, and on normal, click in the middle so it says reversed, and click right setup. Okay, now motor 3 is also spinning wrong, so right click on where 3 would be, click here to go to reverse, and click right setup. Okay, that's it. Now click disconnect. Now click connect. Reset, calibrate, go to motors, and check this out. Now, when I run them, motor 2 spins counterclockwise, and motor 3 spins counterclockwise. Perfect, okay? And there's something else I think that on the failsafe that I should have checked here was, I believe that with the smoke stopper in, that's what caused my failsafe to fail. So I'm gonna click save and reboot, and we're gonna test it here, okay? So I'm gonna go to motors, and I'm gonna get this switch ready, and I'm gonna arm it. Okay, now it's armed. We'll give a little bit of throttle. Okay, and now I'm gonna flip my failsafe. See how it just kicked up? It's now kicked up to 1250, and this would actually be landing, and in about 10 seconds, it should cut the whole thing if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see, and there it goes. Okay, so what you have right there is, let me turn this off now, all the beeping. So what you have right there is your failsafe did kick in fine, and it did work, but unfortunately, I guess if you're starting out though, I don't really think it's a good idea to run it like that. In case, you should probably just drop it. So we're just gonna go ahead and go over here, and we're gonna click at the drop. But I was wondering why it didn't work, and it's because this smoke stopper has an amp limit, and at that point, it couldn't run all 4 motors anyway. So keep it on drop, copy this here, make sure it's exactly like this, and click save and reboot, and you are ready to go. So at this point, your quad is ready to fly, guys. You've done it. Your software's done, everything's done. If you flip your switch, now watch, if I unplug Betaflight, okay, and I'm just gonna now go and do picture-in-picture like this, so hang tight. There you go, right? So here's our radio. Okay, let me make sure we're good. We are. There we go. We're armed. Okay. Disarmed. So at this point, guys, the only thing you have left to do is put your props on. And let me show you how that's going to work. All right, let me grab a set of props. Now, we put you in some 4-inch props because I felt it was safer for first-time pilots. So please don't try to push it past this right now. But here's what you want to do, okay? First of all, go ahead and disconnect your power. And what you're going to do is you are going to, I'm going to try something, I don't recommend you do this by any means, but I want to see why. I got to see the insides of this motor here, because this motor is kind of got a weird noise going to it, so I want to just make sure it's okay. But here's what you want to do, all right? So, and I'll check that out in a second. I'm going to try to hover this in front of you guys on this table. I don't know how good that's going to go. It may totally fail. Okay, so these motors are spinning clockwise, which means you're going to use the blades like this, okay? So make sure they're slanted this way, right? And if you look on the blade itself, it's going to say R. So you'll see a number here, and it says like this one is 4 by 4.5 R, okay? So that means you're going to be turning to the right, and so that's where that prop goes. And the same for the other motor 4. Okay, now if you look at this one, it doesn't have the R, which means it spins to the left. So you'll put those here. So look for the R, and that means right here, 4.5, and there's the R, put that on there. And remember, guys, the black, whoops. Hold on, I gotta get that real quick. Remember that the black fasteners spin to the left to tighten, okay? And the silver spin to the right, okay? So to the right, to the right, to the left, and then just tighten them down. I'll use something like this here. Okay, make sure to spin it to the left then to tighten this one down. Just kind of hold it here. Okay, to the right. There is something on this motor I've got to check because it's got a different noise and it got kind of hot. Shouldn't have, so there may be some debris in this motor. I'm going to check it out real quickly. All right, so let me just check and make sure because that is not a good sign. Let's see what we got. I mean, all the screws are shorter. Not really sure what would be causing the problem on here, but let me just check and make sure the screws are all the right length. Whoops. Okay. I don't see any reason why this should be getting hot, but at the same time, I'm just going to run 2 screws, I guess, for the time being. That's kind of long, maybe. So let me see. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, I just keep dropping the screws, so hang tight for me a second. All right, so this is ready to fly for the time being. Now, okay, so this is what you're not going to do. Is you're not going to practice this the same way I'm doing it, okay? Please don't. But to show you guys how this is going to work, I'm just going to go ahead and strap this battery in, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, so don't do this at home. I just don't have any other way to show you on camera. So let me see if I can give you a, this is going to blow everything all over the place anyway. But we'll see what happens, okay? So here goes. Okay, the quad is armed, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to try to give you a picture-in-picture, a split screen. See if I can do a split screen. There we go. Okay, and let's see if we can get all this stuff out of here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop that only because I can tell that this motor is getting hot. The rest of them are ready to go, but I definitely have a problem on this one. So I'm going to have to check that out and see what is causing... hold on, let me zoom in here. There. No, I don't want to do that one. Okay, so all right, so I've got a problem on this motor right here, and I'm going to check to see what it is. I'm not really sure what's causing it, but it is getting hot. So it could just be a bad motor. It could be a bad winding. Again, this particular kit was brought to me, and so I don't know what work was done on it, but that motor appears to be bad. So I'll go back and I'll check that out. But I will do another. So you guys are done though. As far as yours is going, I'm a little worried to fly this on the bench because it looks like this motor is dipping a little bit, and if it is, then this one right here, I'm seeing it kind of get sluggish, and I'm going to try to trace out what it is. Not really sure exactly what it is yet, but it could be just a matter of some debris inside it. But we'll find out. But in either case, as far as yours goes, you're ready to go. Make sure your battery is charged, guys, and then what we'll do is I'll come back with a video on flying it, but all your programming is set. So at this point, congratulations, guys. You guys are done. I really wanted to fly this on the bench, but I really want to check that motor out first, okay? If you have any questions, guys, please, as always, get with me here on the website. I'm really proud of y'all. You finished the entire thing. If you do notice that your motors are spinning a little off, let me know. You know, there could be a piece of solder in there for all I know. I really don't know the history behind this motor, but I was hoping that, hey, it would just be ready to go, but there's something on there I'm not too sure about. Other than that, that's it. That's a 9-part series on this one. So the next thing you see on this one is going to be me flying it, okay, and showing you exactly how it does. And I'm going to fix that motor, and I'll let you know what I find on that motor. It's something you should be able to watch out for. All right, guys, you take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.